Mr. Castellano, I'm sorry. There's nothing more we can do. Maybe 2 weeks. 3 if we're lucky. Marcus Castellano's triplet daughters were dying. 5 years old. 2 weeks left. The doctor sent them home to die. 4 days later, Marcus walked into his mansion at 1 in the morning and froze. His daughters were laughing. They hadn't laughed in 6 months. And sitting with them on the marble floor, surrounded by painted handprints and colorful paper, was a woman he'd hired 3 weeks ago and barely looked at twice. What he saw next broke him, and then healed him in ways he never thought possible. The Castellano estate sat on 12 acres in Greenwich, Connecticut. 18 bedrooms. Indoor pool. Wine cellar worth more than most people's houses. Marcus had built an empire. Castellano Capital Management. 43 billion under management. Offices in New York, London, Singapore. He'd built everything except the one thing that mattered. A family that wasn't dying. Sophia, Isabella, and Gabriella, his triplet daughters, born 5 years ago in a delivery that should have been routine. But Adriana, his wife, started bleeding and didn't stop. The doctors saved the babies. They couldn't save her. Marcus held his newborn daughters in the hospital while his wife died 3 rooms away. And something inside him broke that night. Something that never healed. He threw himself into work. 16-hour days. Overnight trips to London. Deals that demanded everything he had. Because at work, he was in control. Markets he could predict. Numbers he could manage. But at home, 3 little girls needed a father, and he didn't know how to be one without Adriana. So he hired people. Nannies, tutors, housekeepers. An entire staff to raise his daughters while he built his fortune higher and higher. Like money could fill the hole where his heart used to be. And then 6 months ago, Sophia started getting tired. Bruising easily. Then Isabella. Then Gabriella. The diagnosis came swift and brutal. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia. All 3 girls. A genetic mutation so rare the doctors had only seen it twice in 20 years. The treatment was aggressive. Rounds of chemotherapy that left his daughters hollow-eyed and weak. Experimental protocols that cost $250,000 per week. Marcus paid for everything. The best specialists. The best facilities. Clinical trials in Germany. Treatments in Switzerland. He threw money at the disease like he could buy his daughters' lives. But 3 weeks ago, Dr. Reeves sat him down in that sterile office and spoke the words that shattered Marcus's world. Mr. Castellano, we've exhausted all options. Their bodies aren't responding. Without a miracle, you're looking at 2 weeks. Maybe 3. I'm recommending hospice care at home. Marcus had stared at him. What do you mean, hospice? There has to be something else. Another treatment. Another trial. There isn't. I'm sorry. The kindest thing we can do now is keep them comfortable and let them spend their remaining time at home with you. With you. The words haunted Marcus. Because his daughters didn't know him. Not really. They knew his credit card. They knew his staff. But they didn't know him. He'd failed Adriana when she died. And now he was failing their daughters, too. The Castellano mansion had 47 security cameras. Motion sensors in every hallway. Live feeds that connected to Marcus's phone, his laptop, the monitors in his study. He'd installed them after the 3rd nanny stole jewelry and the 4th leaked photos to a tabloid. After the physical therapist who claimed the girls hit her and tried to sue. After the housekeeper who let her boyfriend into the house and was caught on camera going through Marcus's safe. 11 caregivers in 5 years. 11 people he'd trusted. 11 betrayals. So now Marcus watched everything. He reviewed footage every night. Checked timestamps. Monitored who entered which rooms and when. He trusted no one. The girl's new hospice nurse had lasted 1 week before she started stealing medications. Marcus fired her on the spot, called the agency, threatened to sue. They sent him someone new. Someone they swore had been thoroughly vetted. Her name was Elena Morales. 41 years old. Spoke Spanish and English. Nursing degree from a community college in Texas. References from hospice care facilities in Houston and San Antonio. Background check came back clean. Marcus barely glanced at her during the interview. She was short, plain, wore a simple blue uniform. She sat across from him in his study with her hands folded in her lap, quiet and still. You understand the situation? Marcus asked, not looking up from the contract. My daughters have weeks, maybe days. This isn't about recovery. It's about keeping them comfortable. I understand, Mr. Castellano. No unauthorized visitors. No photographs. No social media posts about this family. You're here to dispense medication, monitor vitals, and keep them clean and fed. That's all. Yes, sir. And I have cameras everywhere. Every room. Every hallway. I will be watching. Elena met his eyes then. Something in her expression made him pause. Not defiance. Not fear. Something else. Something that looked almost like understanding. I know what it's like to lose someone you love, Mr. Castellano, she said quietly. I won't betray that trust. Marcus didn't believe her. He never believed any of them. But he was desperate and running out of time. You start tomorrow. 6 a.m. Elena arrived the next morning at exactly 6. She parked her old Honda Civic next to the fountain, walked up to the service entrance, rang the bell. Marcus watched her on the camera feed from his bedroom. She carried a small backpack. No purse. No extra bags. Just a backpack and a worn Bible tucked under her arm. The head housekeeper, Mrs. Chun, let her in and showed her to the girls' wing. 3 bedrooms connected by a shared playroom. Medical equipment everywhere. For stands, oxygen monitors, medication carts. The girls were still asleep. Sophia in the first room. Isabella in the second. Gabriella in the third. They used to share one room, piled together in the same bed. But the doctors said separate rooms were better for infection control. Marcus watched Elena enter Sophia's room first. She stood at the doorway for a long moment, just looking at the tiny girl asleep in the hospital bed. Then she stepped closer, gently touched Sophia's hand. On the monitor, Marcus saw Elena's lips move. Praying, probably. He almost turned off the feed. He didn't have time for this religious nonsense. But something made him keep watching. Elena checked Sophia's vitals without waking her. Then she moved to Isabella's room. Same gentle touch. Same whispered prayer. Then Gabriella's. When all 3 girls were accounted for, Elena went to the playroom and sat down in the rocking chair. She opened her Bible and read silently for 20 minutes. Just sat there, reading like she had all the time in the world. Marcus checked the time. 6:45. She should be organizing medications, preparing breakfast, doing something useful. Instead, she just read. And when the girls started waking up, Elena stood and went to each room, greeting them softly. Good morning, mi amor. How did you sleep? The girls didn't answer. They never answered anymore. Too tired, too sick, too defeated. But Elena didn't seem bothered by their silence. She just smiled and began her work. By the end of the first week, Marcus realized Elena wasn't following the care plan. She was supposed to keep the girls in their beds, keep them separated, keep them quiet and resting. Instead, on day 3, Marcus watched her wheel all 3 girls into the playroom. She positioned their wheelchairs in a circle, facing each other. You need to see your sisters, she said gently. You need to be together. The girls just stared, hollow-eyed, silent. Elena pulled out a children's book and started reading. Her voice was warm, animated. She did different voices for different characters, made sound effects, tried to make them smile. They didn't smile, but Sophia's eyes tracked the pictures. That was something. On day 5, Elena started singing. Soft Spanish lullabies while she changed their 4 bags. Hymns while she helped them eat. The girls didn't join in, but Isabella's fingers tapped slightly against her wheelchair armrest, keeping rhythm. On day 7, Marcus came home from the office at 11 p.m. and pulled up the playroom camera feed. Elena was still there. She should have gone home hours ago, but she sat on the floor between the 3 wheelchairs, and she was painting. Not on paper, on the girls themselves. She'd rolled up their sleeves and was painting flowers on their thin, bruised arms. Bright colors. Sunflowers and roses and butterflies. She painted slowly, carefully, talking the whole time. You know what butterflies mean? They mean transformation. They mean something beautiful can come from something that seems broken. Sophia watched her paint. Actually watched. Engaged. Your mama loved butterflies, Elena continued. Did you know that? Marcus's breath caught. How did she know that? She loved gardens and flowers and all the beautiful things God makes. And she's watching you right now from heaven, and she's so proud of you. All 3 of you. Gabriella's hand moved slightly, reached toward the painted butterfly on her arm. You like that, Mija? Elena asked softly. We can make more tomorrow. We can paint a whole garden if you want. Marcus sat in his study, staring at the screen. Elena wasn't giving medications, wasn't checking vitals. She was painting flowers on dying children. He should fire her. This wasn't protocol. This wasn't what hospice care looked like. But then Sophia smiled. Barely, just the slightest curve of her lips. But it was real. Marcus hadn't seen his daughter smile in 6 months. He reached for his phone to call Mrs. Chun and tell her to let Elena stay as long as she wanted, that she didn't need to follow the schedule anymore. But he stopped, put the phone down, and just watched. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. Over the next week, Marcus became obsessed with the camera feeds. He'd sit in his study until 2, 3 in the morning, watching Elena with his daughters. She'd broken every rule in the care plan. The girls were supposed to stay in their beds. She had them in the playroom 6 hours a day. They were supposed to avoid stimulation. She read to them constantly, sang to them, painted with them, and impossibly, they were responding. Sophia started making eye contact, actually looking at Elena when she spoke. Isabella began humming along with the songs. Quiet, breathy, but real. Gabriella asked for water one morning. Her voice was so soft Elena had to lean close to hear it. But she asked. She used words. Marcus watched it all from his screens. During board meetings, he'd have the feed open on his phone under the table. On conference calls, he'd mute himself and just watch Elena rock his daughters to sleep. She never knew he was watching, never played to the cameras. She just loved them. That's what it looked like, Marcus realized. Love. The kind Adriana would have given them. The kind he'd forgotten how to show. One night, Marcus came home at midnight to grab files he'd forgotten. The house was dark except for a light in the playroom. He walked quietly up the stairs, stood in the shadowed hallway, and looked through the cracked door. Elena sat on the floor, all 3 girls around her. They weren't in their wheelchairs. They were on the floor, sitting up, leaning against her like she was the center of gravity, keeping them all together. She was teaching them to fold something. Paper. Colored paper. Like this, she said, demonstrating. Valley fold. Mountain fold. See, Sophia tried to copy her. Her hands shook, but she folded the paper. Perfecto, mi amor. You're doing it. What are we making? Isabella whispered. Paper cranes, Elena said. 1,000 of them. It's a tradition. If we fold 1,000 with pure hearts, God grants our wish. What do we wish for? Gabriella asked. Elena looked at each girl, her eyes shining with tears. We wish for more time. More days to laugh. More days to be together. More days to tell your papa how much you love him. Sophia looked up. Papa doesn't come home. The words hit Marcus like a bullet. He stood frozen in the hallway, his hand on the wall for support. He's scared, Elena said gently. Sometimes when people are afraid of losing someone, they run away. It's not because they don't love you. It's because they love you so much. Losing you would break them. Like Mama? Isabella asked. Yes, Mija. Losing your mama broke him. And he's so afraid of losing you 3. He doesn't know how to be close anymore. Gabriella's lip trembled. We're going to die. I don't know what God has planned, Elena said honestly. But I know this. Right now, you're alive. Right now, you're here. Right now, you can fold paper and make something beautiful. So let's not waste it being afraid. Let's use it to create miracles. She handed each girl another piece of paper. Come on. We have 997 more to go. Marcus turned and walked back downstairs. His vision was blurred. His hands were shaking. He sat in his study and put his face in his hands and broke. Because Elena was right. He'd been running. He'd been hiding. And his daughters thought he didn't love them. He pulled up the camera feed one more time. Watched Elena and the girls folding paper cranes by lamplight. Watched them smile. Watched them live. And Marcus realized something that shattered him. A woman he'd hired 3 weeks ago knew his daughters better than he did. Loved them better than he did. Was teaching them about hope and faith and miracles while he sat in his office counting money. The next morning, Marcus canceled his 8 a.m. meeting, his 9 a.m. conference call, his lunch with investors in Manhattan. And at 10 a.m., He walked into the playroom where Elena was reading to the girls. All four of them looked up, surprised. Mr. Castellano, Elena stood. Is everything okay? Marcus looked at his daughters. Sophia, Isabella, Gabriella. Their thin faces. Their bright, watchful eyes. His children, who were dying, and he'd barely spent 10 hours with them in the last month. Can I join you? He asked, his voice rough. Elena smiled. Of course. She made space on the floor. Marcus sat down, awkward in his suit and tie. Sophia looked at him like she wasn't sure he was real. What are you reading? Marcus asked. Charlotte's Web, Elena said. Marcus nodded. That was my favorite when I was a kid. Really? Isabella's voice was so quiet he almost missed it. Really? Gabriella reached toward him slowly, put her small hand on his knee, and Marcus felt something inside him crack open. Not pain. Something else. Something that felt like hope breaking through. Can we fold together later, Papa? Sophia asked. Marcus's throat closed. Fold. Paper cranes, Elena explained. We're making 1,000. Yes, Marcus said. He took Sophia's hand. Yes, we can fold together. Elena kept reading, and Marcus stayed. Through the whole chapter. Through lunch. Through the afternoon. He stayed. And for the first time since Adriana died, he felt like maybe, just maybe, he could learn to be a father again. Marcus started coming home earlier. Not every day, but 3 times a week. Then 4. Then 5. He'd sit in the playroom and watch Elena work. Watch her fold cranes with the girls. Watch her paint flowers on their arms and tell them stories about Adriana. Stories Marcus had never told them because it hurt too much. And he noticed things. Sophia was eating more. Not a lot, but she finished half a bowl of soup one day. Then a whole sandwich the next. Isabella asked questions. Why is the sky blue? Where do butterflies sleep? Small things, but she was curious again. Engaged. Gabriella laughed. Actually laughed when Elena did a silly voice while reading. Dr. Reeves came for the weekly checkup. He examined all 3 girls, took blood samples, checked their vitals. His face got quieter as he worked. What is it? Marcus asked. Dr. Reeves looked at his tablet, then back at the girls. Their white blood cell counts are up. Not significantly, but measurably. Their oxygen levels are better. Heart rates are stronger. What does that mean? I don't know. Dr. Reeves shook his head. With all this advanced, we shouldn't be seeing improvement. We should be seeing decline. But they're getting better? I didn't say better. I said different. Could be a temporary rally. The body sometimes gathers strength before. He stopped. Let's run the blood work again next week. After the doctor left, Marcus found Elena in the kitchen preparing lunch. He said they're improving. Elena looked up. I know. How? She smiled. Because I see them every day. I see Sophia eating. I see Isabella asking questions. I see Gabriella reaching for things instead of just lying there. The doctor said it might be temporary. It might be. Elena set down the knife. Or it might be God answering prayers. Either way, we celebrate today. We love them today. And we trust that whatever happens, we gave them joy while they had time. Marcus leaned against the counter. How do you do it? How do you stay so positive when they are dying? Elena finished gently. Because I learned the hard way that fear steals more than death ever could. Fear steals the present. It steals the moments we have right now. You lost someone. It wasn't a question. Elena's face changed. My son, Daniel. He was 6. Marcus felt his chest tighten. I'm sorry. Leukemia. Same as your girls. We tried everything. Chemo, radiation, experimental trials. Nothing worked. And I spent his last 6 months terrified. So terrified I could barely look at him without crying. I missed so much because I was too afraid to be present. She wiped her eyes quickly. When he died, I realized I'd wasted the gift of his last days. I'd had time with him, and I'd spent it grieving instead of loving. So when your wife hired me, Marcus's head snapped up. Adriana hired you. Elena paused. You didn't know. Tell me. She took a breath. 3 years ago, I was working at a hospice center in Houston. Your wife found me through a grief support group. She was already sick. The cancer had spread. She knew she wouldn't survive the pregnancy. Marcus grabbed the counter. He hadn't known. Adriana never told him how sick she was. She asked me to come here after the babies were born, Elena continued. She said her husband was brilliant but broken, that he'd need someone to help him remember how to love. Someone who understood loss. Why didn't you come sooner? Because you weren't ready. You hired 11 people before me. You fired them all. Adriana told me to wait until you stopped running, until you were desperate enough to finally see. Marcus felt like the floor was disappearing beneath him. She planned this. She loved you. She loved her daughters. And she knew you'd need help finding your way back. 2 weeks later, Marcus had a late meeting in Manhattan. A deal that couldn't wait. He told Elena he wouldn't be home until midnight. But the meeting ended early. He drove home at 11, pulling into the driveway just before 11:30. The house was dark except for lights in the playroom. Marcus walked upstairs quietly. He heard voices. Laughter. He stopped at the playroom door. What he saw made his knees buckle. All 3 girls were standing. Not in wheelchairs. Not in bed. Standing, holding hands, dancing in a circle with Elena in the center. They were singing. Actually singing. Their voices thin and breathy, but real. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies. Sophia stumbled. Elena caught her, held her up, kept her in the circle. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. They collapsed onto the floor in a pile, giggling. Marcus's phone slipped from his hand. It hit the hardwood with a crack. All 4 of them looked up. Papa! Gabriella scrambled to her feet, walked toward him. Marcus dropped to his knees. His daughter, who hadn't walked in 4 months, was walking. She reached him and threw her arms around his neck. You're home early. Sophia and Isabella got up too, slower, shakier, but they got up. They walked to him. Marcus pulled all 3 girls into his arms and broke, sobbing, shaking, holding them like he could keep them here forever through sheer force of will. How? He choked out. How is this possible? Elena stood back, quiet, giving them space. We've been practicing, Sophia said proudly. Miss Elena says our bodies remember how to be strong. We just have to remind them. We made 800 cranes, Isabella added. Only 200 more. Marcus looked over their heads at Elena. She was crying too, silent tears streaming down her face. You did this, he whispered. You brought them back. No, Elena said softly. God did. I just reminded them they were worth fighting for. Marcus should have been grateful, should have fallen to his knees and thanked God and Elena for this impossible gift. But instead, something dark twisted in his chest, something that felt like shame. He stood abruptly. Girls, go to bed. But Papa now. They looked at Elena, confused. She nodded gently. Go ahead, Mias. I'll tuck you in soon. After they left, Marcus turned on Elena. What did you do to them? Her eyes widened. What? They couldn't walk. The doctors said they'd never walk again. And now suddenly they're dancing? What kind of false hope are you selling them? It's not false. Yes, it is. His voice rose. You're making them think they're getting better. You're making them believe in miracles that don't exist. And when they crash, because they will crash, it's going to destroy them. Elena stepped closer. Marcus, listen to yourself. Your daughters are improving. They're eating, walking, living. Why can't you just accept? Because it's not real, he shouted. Because I've watched this disease kill children before. I've seen the false rallies, the temporary improvements right before the end. And I won't let you make them believe. Believe what? That they matter? That they're worth fighting for? That their father actually loves them? The words hit like a slap. How dare you? Marcus said, his voice dangerous and low. You're not angry at me, Elena said, tears in her eyes. You're angry at yourself. Because I did what you couldn't. I showed up. I love them. And now you can't stand that a stranger succeeded where you failed. Get out. Marcus, you're fired. Pack your things and leave. Tonight. Elena stared at him. You're making a mistake. No. Hiring you was the mistake. Letting you fill their heads with fantasies about paper cranes and miracles. Get out of my house. From the hallway, a small voice. Papa. Marcus turned. All 3 girls stood there in their pajamas, faces pale, eyes wide. Why are you yelling at Miss Elena? Sophia whispered. She's leaving, Marcus said, trying to keep his voice steady. She's not going to work here anymore. No. Gabriella started crying. No, you can't make her leave. Please, Papa, Isabella begged. We need her. You don't need her. You have me. Sophia looked at him with those dark eyes, Adriana's eyes, and said the words that destroyed him. No, we don't. You never hear. Elena knelt down, gathered all three girls. Listen to me. Your papa loves you so much. He's just scared. And sometimes when grown-ups are scared, they make bad choices. But he's still your father, and he's still here, and you have to trust him. Don't go, Gabriella sobbed into her shoulder. I have to, Mija, but you're going to be okay. All three of you. She kissed their foreheads one by one. Then she stood and walked past Marcus without looking at him. She was gone in 10 minutes. The house felt like a tomb. Marcus tried to take over. He dispensed medications. He prepared meals. He sat with the girls and tried to fold paper cranes. But they wouldn't talk to him, wouldn't eat, wouldn't look at him. Within 2 days, Sophia stopped getting out of bed. Within 3 days, Isabella stopped speaking. Within 4 days, Gabriella developed a fever that wouldn't break. Dr. Reeves came for an emergency visit. He examined the girls, his face grave. What happened? Their blood work from last week showed improvement. Now they're declining rapidly. Marcus couldn't answer. After the doctor left, Mrs. Chun found Marcus in his study, staring at nothing. You need to bring her back, Mrs. Chun said quietly. I can't. Yes, you can. You can admit you were wrong. You can swallow your pride and go get that woman who saved your daughters. I can't. Your daughters are dying, Mr. Castellano. Not from leukemia, from heartbreak. They lost their mother. Then they lost the woman who taught them how to live again. And if you don't fix this, they're going to lose their will to fight. She said something on his desk. A piece of paper, folded into a crane. Crooked, imperfect. Gabriella made this yesterday. She wanted me to give it to you. Marcus unfolded it carefully. Inside, in shaky child handwriting, Papa, please bring Miss Elena back. We're sorry we made you mad. We'll be good. Please. We miss her. We miss you too. Marcus's vision blurred. He stood up, grabbed his keys. Where are you going? Mrs. Chin asked. To fix this, he said. Even if she slams the door in my face. Elena lived in a small apartment in Stamford. 3rd floor walk up. No, elevator. Marcus knocked on the door at 9 p.m. A man answered. Older, weathered. Yeah. I need to speak to Elena Morales. She doesn't want to talk to you. Please. It's about the girls you chose over her. The ones you're letting die because you're too proud to admit you need help. The man, Elena's father, stepped closer. You humiliated my daughter. She gave everything to your family, and you threw her out like garbage. I know I was wrong. Then you figure out how to fix it without breaking her again. The door slammed. Marcus stood in the hallway. Tried again the next night. Same result. On the 3rd night, Elena opened the door herself. She looked exhausted, thinner, like she'd been crying for days. Please, Marcus said before she could speak. Just listen. I can't do this, Marcus. The girls are dying. Actually dying. They stopped eating. Stopped talking. Gabriella's fever is 104. They're giving up. Elena's face crumbled. I can't watch them die. I already watched my son die. I can't. I'm not asking you to watch them die. I'm asking you to help them live. Help me love them the way you taught me to. His voice broke. I was wrong. I was jealous and scared and stupid. You did what I couldn't, and instead of being grateful, I punished you for it. He pulled out the paper crane. Gabriella made this. She asked me to bring you back. All 3 girls are begging for you. Elena took the crane with shaking hands. Read the note inside. I don't know if I can do this, she whispered. Then don't do it for me. Do it for them. They need you. I need you. She looked up. If I come back, things change. You don't have to hide anymore. You show up every day. You learn to fold cranes and paint flowers and sing lullabies. You become their father, not their benefactor. I will. I promise. And I'm not leaving again. Ever. Whether they live 1 more week or 50 more years, I'm staying. Marcus nodded. I wouldn't want it any other way. Elena came back that night. Marcus watched from the doorway as she entered the girls' rooms one by one. Sophia opened her eyes. Miss Elena? I'm here, mi amor. I'm here. You came back. I promised I wouldn't leave you. I'm sorry I broke that promise. But I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. She gathered all 3 girls, weak, feverish, barely able to sit up, and held them. We still have 200 cranes to make, she whispered. And I need your help. Over the next week, something miraculous happened. Marcus canceled everything. Every meeting, every trip, every obligation. He called his COO and said, "You're in charge until further notice. My daughters need me." He sat on the floor with Elena and the girls and folded cranes. Hundreds of them. His hands learned the valley folds and mountain folds. His voice learned the Spanish lullabies. And slowly, impossibly, the girls came back. Gabriella's fever broke on day 3. Isabella started eating on day 5. Sophia stood up and walked to the window on day 7. "Look, Papa. Butterflies." Marcus went to her, looked outside. 3 monarch butterflies circled the garden. "Mama sent them," Sophia whispered, "to tell us she's proud." Marcus pulled his daughter close. "She is proud of all 3 of you, and so am I." 2 months later, Dr. Reeves sat in Marcus's study with test results spread across the desk. "I can't explain this," he said. "The leukemic cells are almost gone. Their bodies are producing healthy, white blood cells. Their bone marrow is regenerating." Marcus looked at Elena, sitting beside him. "We didn't change the treatment protocol," Dr. Reeves continued. "We didn't introduce new medications. The only variable is—" He trailed off. "Love," Elena said simply. "The variable is love." The doctor nodded slowly. "I've been practicing medicine for 30 years. I've never seen anything like this. But I can't argue with the results. Your daughters are in remission." After he left, Marcus stood at the window watching Sophia, Isabella, and Gabriella play in the garden. Actually play. Running, laughing, living. 1,000 paper cranes hung from the playroom ceiling, turning slowly in the breeze. Elena stood beside him. "We did it." "No," Marcus said. "You did it. You taught them to hope. You taught me to be present. You saved us all." She looked at him. "What happens now?" Marcus turned to face her. "Now we keep folding. We keep loving them. We keep showing up." He paused. "And I'm asking you to do that not as their nurse. As family. As the person who taught us all what family really means." Elena's eyes filled with tears. "Are you sure? Adriana chose you for us. She knew exactly what we needed." His voice broke. "And she was right. So please, stay. Not as someone we hired. As someone we love." Elena nodded. "Okay, Marcus. Okay." That evening, they gathered in the playroom. All 5 of them. Marcus had one final crane to fold. Gold, metallic, shimmering. "This is number 1,000, he said. "We fold it together." 5 pairs of hands worked the paper. Valley fold, mountain fold, wings spreading. When it was finished, they held it up to the light. "What did we wish for?" Gabriella asked. Marcus looked at his daughters. At Elena. At the family that had been rebuilt from brokenness. "We wish for time, and God gave it to us. Not just days, but moments. Real, beautiful moments where we learned what love actually means." "It means showing up," Sophia said. "It means staying," Isabella added. "Even when it's hard," Gabriella finished. Elena kissed each girl's head. "Especially when it's hard." They hung the golden crane in the center of the 1,000 others. And as it turned slowly in the evening light, casting rainbow shadows across the walls, Marcus understood what Adriana had known all along. Miracles don't always look like healing. Sometimes they look like a woman who lost her son teaching a father how to love his daughters. Sometimes they look like paper cranes folded in dark hours when hope seems impossible. Sometimes miracles look like showing up, staying present, and choosing love even when the outcome is uncertain. And sometimes, when you fold enough cranes with enough faith, God gives you more than you wish for. He gives you everything. 6 months later, the girls were healthy. Completely healthy. Dr. Reeves called it unprecedented. Miraculous. Marcus called it Elena. She lived in the main house now, not in the staff quarters. In the room next to the girls, where she could hear them laugh through the walls. They had family dinners every night. Folded cranes on weekends. Visited children's hospitals to teach other sick kids about hope. And every Sunday, Marcus took his daughters to the garden where 3 butterflies always seemed to appear, dancing in the sunlight. "Mama's watching," Sophia would say, and Marcus would nod. "Yes, she's watching, and she's smiling." Because Adriana's final gift had come full circle. She'd given him Elena. Elena had given him his daughters. And together, they'd learned what Adriana had always known. That love shows up. That love stays. That love folds broken things back together, one paper crane at a time. And that sometimes, when everything seems lost, God sends exactly the right person at exactly the right time to teach you that miracles aren't about what you deserve. They're about what happens when you finally stop running and start believing.